I do have TikTok, but I'm not going to put that out there because I'm still learning it.
Look, we'll get
So
you there. You
I'm
just need
not
a
as good as Fred.
you just need a millennial to walk you through the TikTok life.
Absolutely. This is the first video um, that I've done. So Fred's bringing me out of my shell a little bit. So hopefully I can get some more videos out there on my socials.
I'm surprised Olivia hasn't forced you out of your shell when it comes to videos yet.
Actually, when I told her that I was going to start doing videos, she was like, "Oh, why?" Like I think she's afraid for me to do it.
It's gonna be fine. It's gonna
So
be great. Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to Beyond the Castle. I am Fred Briley, and I am super excited to finally be here. Again, my name is Fred Briley, and I work with Enchantaway Travel, and I am here with Lori Talamo, who works with the Mouse Counselors, and this has been a project that we have been working on for quite a while. So we're finally excited to be here and kind of introduce ourselves and talk about what's coming ahead in the next couple weeks. So with that, Lori, good morning. How are you doing today?
good morning. I'm doing great. Thank you. I'm so excited for us to finally get this project going. It's something that we've been talking about for a while, like you said. So just excited to get this out there and get it started.
Yeah, for sure. A little bit about us. We each come from very different backgrounds when it comes to, Disney, our travel destinations, really our passions. We both have, you know, we both are very different travel agents. So, kind of a little bit about me. Like I said, my name is Fred Briley. We're both in New Orleans. I'm military, so I'm down here on assignment for the few years. Um, I'm married. I have two kids with three dogs, and I'm a huge lover of Disney. So Disney is my passion. I sell a lot of things, much like Lori does, but really Disney is truly where my heart lies. Lori, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Yeah. As Fred said, from the New Orleans area. I'm actually born and raised here. I'm married to my husband for 22 years now. In January, we'll celebrate our 23 year anniversary. We have two kids. One, yes, awesome. One who is 19, who is a sophomore in college, and our 16-year-old who is a junior in high school. As Fred said, I've been a travel agent with my agency since November of 2020. For whatever reason, I saw fit to join during the COVID era. But it's been an amazing journey. I love planning, and so it was a natural fit for me to be a vacation planner to help others plan their vacations. Multiple Disney trips underway, with more to come in the future. I've been to Universal several times and some cruises as well. So I'm excited to be able to share my Disney journey because let's be real, Fred and I started this because we're Disney nerds. We love Disney.
Facts.
We love everything about Disney. But as travel agents, we do sell other destinations. So it's good to be able to keep it open and just share our knowledge and experiences with everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I've only been a travel agent for almost 4 months now. So I'm just now getting into the game of being a travel agent. But I've already got to help a couple of different people, and it's just such a fun and rewarding job to get to do. Especially the fact that I love Disney. I get to talk about Disney all day, and now I get to talk. I get paid to talk to people about Disney, which is super cool in my mind. So yeah,
Yeah.
what got you into, I guess, travel agents? You said you came back in, the COVID era to come on as a travel agent. What kind of led you to becoming a travel agent?
So really what got me started is just like I said, I love planning. If you ask anyone in my family, I'm the planner. Early on in our Disney years, I would have spreadsheets, color coded everything about planning. But I also do that in my personal life. And for my full time position, I work in the oil and gas industry. I'm a planner, so it's just natural fit. And I was learning through those trips how to plan, how to manage your park days. So then I would have friends who would reach out and say, "Hey, I know you planned this for yourself. Can I have a copy of your spreadsheet?" So instead of giving them a copy of the spreadsheet, I'd say, "Hey, tell me your park days, and I'm going to kind of help you plan it out." So I started doing that. I remember the first time back when fast passes were still around. My friend and I, we got up at midnight together and we're chatting on the phone as we're booking our fast passes because we were going to be there together.
Yeah.
And so it just was a natural fit. And so I, started researching and looking to see, what it meant to be a vacation planner. I knew a couple of people in my neighborhood, in my area, that were travel agents for other agencies. And so it just seemed like it was a natural fit. And so I found mouse counselors, which I'm very thankful for. I love my agency. So it just worked. It worked for me. And so I can't go to Disney as often as I would love. So being able to help others plan their vacations just kind of helps me get my fix a little bit, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. So I know we're both Disney nerds, right? So when was your first Disney trip? Is that kind of what got you started, or was it like a Universal? Was it a cruise? Like, what
Yeah.
was it for you?
Tech, So my first actual Disney trip that I don't remember, I went when I was 4. My grandmother and my mom took me. I went again when I was 12, again with my grandmother. It was a dancing trip that we went on. I don't remember a whole lot about that trip either. But my first one that I remember that's the most memorable is my family. We went together in 2014, and that was when Olivia was about 6 and Braden was 9, and that's where it all began. I had a friend from work who was going to Disney at that time. Josh had a friend from his work. We went during Mardi Gras, and so it just sparked the love of Disney. And then, thankfully, with Olivia being a competitive cheerleader, we were able to go multiple times for cheer trips, and so it just kind of evolved into my love for Disney and wanting to go all the time.
Yeah. And now your husband is not a Disney fan.
So this is questionable because my entire family, with the exception of Olivia. Olivia loves going to Disney with me.
Yeah.
Um, all of them kind of say, "Can we go somewhere else?" But then I'm like, "Okay, but I still want to go to Disney."
Right.
And so I'm going to book a trip. I'll do something, a lot of we have agency trips that we do annually. If it's something that I can't make, a few of the ladies in my agency will schedule a trip and go together. But we always manage to do family trips because I think they secretly love it too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I get wanting to go other places, which is why I booked us for Disneyland
Hey, look at
next
that.
summer because we've never been there, so it's different.
Yeah. We've never
But
been
we
to
do
Disney.
other things. Yeah, we do other things. We'll do cruises periodically, to get other vacations in there. But
Right.
yeah, what about you? How'd you get started?
I think, I got asked this question the other day when I became a Disney lover, right? And there's a very specific day in my mind. I watched Disney movies growing up. I'm a '90s kid at the end of the day, so the fabulous movies of Lilo and Stitch and Hercules, like that was like my prime time growing up. But once I got out of high school and college, like it just kind of fell off my radar. And then back in 2018, oh, go back 2017, I met my now wife, and her mom was obsessed with taking people to Disney for the first time. I never went as a kid. Um, there was always talks of going to Disney as a kid when I was growing up, but it was nothing that ever came to fruition. And so when Rachel's mom found out that I had never been to Disney, she was like, "We have to plan him a trip." And this was like 3 months after we started dating. So I think I'd only met her mom and dad once. But so she started planning a trip, and unfortunately, she passed away before we could go. But I still went with Rachel and her dad in 2018, and remember driving. Rachel will never let me live this down. That on the way down, I was not excited at all. I sat in the back of the car of the 10-hour ride and did homework, and she sat up front coloring Disney coloring books, listening to Disney Pandora, and doing Disney trivia with her dad. But no, like the first moment I stepped into Magic Kingdom in 2018, like all of my Disney love came back. Um, and I think on that trip, I started planning my next trip to take my parents because my mom had never been, and my dad hadn't been since Animal Kingdom opened. So it was at that point
Wow.
that I essentially became a Disney planner, or even just a travel agent general. But I started planning their trips. I started planning all of my future trips. I started planning other people's trips. Um,
Hmm.
so, for years we would go back to Disney. I would talk to other people about Disney. I would plan other people's Disney trips, and then for a while, really over this past year, as we've had a whole crap ton of issues with our house. I've been looking for ways to get some, side money in, and I applied to a couple agencies, back early in the year because I was like, let me put this to work. Like, I'm good at planning trips. I'm a very detailed person that comes from my military background. I'm very backwards planning, like just planning is in my nature. So I was like, let's make some money off of what I do good at. And so applied for a couple agencies, never heard anything back. And then out of the blue, I applied for one more agency back in June, who in Channel Travel, uh, brand new. We're agency's only like a year old, but they were like, "We'd love to have you," and so that's where it happened for me. So I've been working with in Channel Travel for, like I said, a couple months now, and absolutely love it. So it's fun times.
That's awesome. And the one thing too about being a planner or travel agent is that you learn with any other job, you learn the skills and the things that you need to do, for each destination. It's just having the
Yeah,
background and the experience. And so it's easy for someone who has the knowledge of Disney, and you have a lot of knowledge as far as traveling with, you know, just you and your wife, and then now with the
yeah,
girls, being young. So, you can have, and then your military background is, a lot to say because you'll have the military, folks that trust you because of your military background. And
yeah,
so, it's all just kind of a natural fit. And one of the things that you said kind of made me want to touch on a little bit too with the vacation planners, travel agents, how it works is a lot of folks don't know and they want to go and book their own trips
yeah,
because they're like, oh, I don't need to have somebody help me plan it. But one thing, we each have our own small business. So
yeah,
when you use a travel agent, you're helping a small business. And like you said, you have, a family. Although we both have full-time jobs, this does, help supplement income. When you have, and actually I use mine as my vacations for myself.
yep,
But one of the thing is every destination that is out there has a commission already built in for travel agents. If you decide to book on your own, the destination just keeps the commission. And then if you decide to use a travel agent, they pay out the commission to the agent. There
yeah,
are some ways around that. If you plan your own trip and you just wanted some vacation planning assistance, my agency does have that as well. But use your local travel agents. Find someone that you know within your community that is a travel agent. Do some research and make sure that they're a good fit for you. But help a small business and partner with someone that can help you through that. And then for those who like to plan their own stuff, I have some clients that don't. All that I do is book their trip. They want to do their own dining reservations and things like that. We can do that too. But we're just there to advocate for you. And then if there's things that come up, like when a new promotion comes out, who wants to sit on the phone or on the computer sometimes for
yeah,
hours trying to
yeah,
get
yeah.
that promotion applied? The agents can do that for you. So
Yeah, and I think that's my
just
biggest pitch to people. Like, I had a buddy reach out the other day because I have at my last assignment, I had a buddy that I was very close with, who I need to text back. He texted me 2 days ago. He is also obsessed with Disney. Him and his wife go to Disney 2 to 3 times a year. Um, they go to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party every year. Like, they're obsessed. Um, so he texted me and my buddy. He was like, "Hey, like, when's a good time to go to Disney? We're looking to go to Disney, blah, 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 blah." And I started talking to him about it. And I was like, "Hey, you know, I know a really good, travel agent who specializes in Disney." And he was like, "That's a thing?" I was like, "Yeah." And, I brought up the fact that I was like, if you book your trip through Disney, you're going to pay a commission to Disney. Like, that money's going to go to Disney. But if you book a trip through a travel agent, like, that money goes towards a small business to essentially help either, people like me pay for the crap issues with my house, for people like you, and it helps pay to go to Disney more often. So, at the end of the day, like,
Exactly.
and I mean, I tell people the same thing all the time. I had an individual reach out the other day, and they were like, hey, "We've already booked everything. We just want help planning it." And I was like, "Okay." They were like, "We'll do everything. We just need advice." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, absolutely help you." Um, so there's so many benefits to using, a travel agent for really any of your trips.
Yep,
So yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, so reach out to your podcast host here.
right.
And I know we have this later on the schedule, but I'll go ahead and plug it now since we're talking about it. You can reach out to us at info@beyondthecastlepodcast.com. And we'll put you in touch with either one of us, who we feel would be a better fit to help you plan your trip. So you're in good hands with us.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of brought it up earlier, but we each have different specialties, which is what I think is really cool about this podcast. Some of the clients that I've heard you talk about. Um, what would you say your specialty is when it comes to travel planning?
I mean, I'm going to say Disney because that's the majority of what I book.
Yeah,
So I do. It's heavy Disney. I do have a lot of Universal, and I have some cruises as well. I have a group cruise of about 6 cabins booked on Royal Caribbean to go out this December. And since we're in New Orleans, Carnival is we have the
yes,
Carnival the port right here in New Orleans. So I do get a lot of Carnival guests that are local. So I have quite a few cruises under my belt as well. But I'll say Disney just because it's the one that I'm more heavily involved in at the moment.
yeah. I mean, I'm the same way. I've traveled a lot. I've been to Disney, Universal. I've never been on a cruise. It is on the bucket list, especially being here in New Orleans. Like, how could we not take a weekend cruise when we literally just have to drive across the river and we're at the port? Um,
Right.
so yeah, for me,
I know a
it's
travel
definitely
agent that can help you with that.
do what,
Just kidding. I said I know a travel agent that can help you with that.
right? Yeah, you
Just
can
kidding.
book my trips. Um, yeah, no, I mean at Disney, where that's where majority of mine. You know, one of the cool things about being a travel agent is we have access to uh, a plethora of resources, right? Um,
Absolutely.
whether it's other travel agents who have been places in our agency, or whether it's um, whether it's like the actual company's training, like the massive amount of training that we have to do for all of uh, the the companies and locations that we sell. Like we have a lot of knowledge, so even if we haven't been there, like we can always get you the information that you need to have a good trip.
Right. And one of the things that I will not do is if it's a destination that I'm not comfortable with.
Yeah,
Josh's one of his coworkers wanted me to help plan their honeymoon in Italy. However, I would love to do that, but it's not a destination that I've been to. I don't have time to research, and so I'm not going to book a trip for someone somewhere that I'm not comfortable. But as you said,
yeah,
both of our agencies have multiple agents who may be familiar with that. And so if it's something that we're not comfortable doing, we can absolutely put you in touch with someone that we would trust to book our own personal trips that, can help you with those destinations.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, even when it comes to specialties, like you mentioned it a little bit ago, um, I think in my agency, I'm slowly starting to become the military guy. Um,
Hmm.
just because my like I said, my agency is still pretty small. There's probably only like 120 of us, and I think I'm the only military guy. So I have a lot of people reach out and ask me questions about military benefits at Disney, Universal, Carnival Cruise Line, or like when we have military families come through my agency and request information. Typically, they come to me because my agency owner's like, hey Fred, you've used military benefits before, so can you help these people out? So, um, like I said, we have a lot of knowledge that to share. I think one of the things that just popped into my head, ADHD moment. Um, we've talked a lot about us individually and how we were excited to start the podcast, but we never talked about how we met. which I think is super important to know because if not, it's just two random people from different agencies kind of talking about, travel stuff. And I think it's super cool how we met,
Right.
right? Um, yeah, I think it's super cool that, we both, we moved to New Orleans back in June of what year is it? 2023. And we started at a church here in New Orleans called One Hope. And we've been there for about a year now. And you guys were actually going to a different church,
Hmm.
um, Acceleration Church down
Yeah,
here
we
in
were.
Belle Chase.
Yeah, yeah, we
So,
were with Acceleration for about 13 years. Yeah.
yeah. And then at the end of last year, our church, One Hope, said that they were going to be adopting slash partnering with Acceleration Church to really expand One Hope's reach. And I think it was at that point that I met Josh, um,
Hmm.
but I don't think I ever talked to Josh. I sang with him or I played with him, in the worship team, but I don't think I ever really talked with him at that point because I was still trying to get the feeling for the Belle Chase campus. And
Hmm.
I still don't even really remember the first time we met and started talking. I know we used you. We reached out to you for um, babysitting because my kids are
Yes,
obsessed
my
with your
daughter.
daughter, like an
Yeah.
unhealthy type of obsessed.
Yeah, I think
Um,
Olivia is where the relationship kind of started.
I think so. And then I found out you were a travel agent, and our love for Disney connected us. And and then when I started looking at travel agencies myself, kind of got some advice from you. So I just think it's really cool how you know our religion brought us together and our passions for Disney. It's
Absolutely.
been a cool journey, um, and
Yeah, and
go ahead.
one of the things I say too is that because I know a lot of people can look at it, and even maybe I did in the beginning too, like how do we work together
Yeah,
since we're working for different agencies? Because in most cases, people see that as competition. And actually, I think Pastor Terry made a joke about us being competitors.
yeah,
Um, but the way I look at it, and maybe it took a little reflection to look at it and see that this world is big enough, and
yeah,
I'm not going to reach everyone, and you're not going to reach everyone. We have different, demographics that are our clients, and so there's no reason that you know two folks from different agencies can't work together. And even if we bounce ideas off each other, or I'm in this because, and I know you are too. I'm in this because I love helping people. And so why would I not want to help another agent? There's plenty of Facebook groups and there's a lot of,
oh yeah,
different resources out there that agents do this. We bounce ideas off each other if we have questions, so just to be able to partner with someone, that we do go to the church together. Our church is very important to our family, and I know yours as well. We're very involved in different aspects of the ministry.
yeah,
And so it's just a natural fit when you have someone who has like mind goals and backgrounds, to work together.
yeah.
And I
And I
know,
mean,
this podcast is really just kind of getting to know us a little bit, just so that way you folks know who's behind the screen and the microphone. But I can't wait for us to get into the fun stuff, but we're really talking about, all the park updates and things of that nature. So
yeah, and I think we've got a lot of cool stuff planned. Um, you know, kind of. We spent what, a couple weeks talking about what to call the podcast.
absolutely.
Yeah, we spent a
Yeah.
hot minute, throwing ideas back and forth, trying to figure out, what we wanted to call our podcast. And I think it was your idea of Beyond the Castle that I fell in love with because you know we sell a lot of Disney. We do because that's just the primary. Everybody wants to go to Disney World, um,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, there's so much more that we do. We go beyond the Disney Castle, and we do.
Hmm.
I right now I do Carnival Cruise Line, uh, Royal Caribbean Cruise Line, and Universal. I mean, I know you do. Um, You do Virgin Cruise Line as well. I think what you do some resorts as well too, right?
Yeah, I've done a couple of beaches and sandals resorts as
Yeah.
well.
So
There
there,
are, other all inclusives out there. I haven't done those. The beaches and sandals are very straightforward, so those I feel comfortable
yeah,
booking at this moment. But hopefully one day can evolve to beyond that. But
yeah. But there's there's so much more that we do. So I think it's going to be a really cool podcast where there's going to for sure be some heavy emphasis on Disney, because between Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, there's just a lot to talk about, which I think is going to be on our next episode. We're planning to talk about maybe some of the big announcements from D23, um, which at this point is kind of old news, but I feel like it's, I think we both agree it's still important to kind of come back and have some conversation about, you know, Villains Land, the Cars rides that are coming to Magic Kingdom, and just some of the other stuff.
absolutely, yeah,
I think it's going to be cool.
yeah, yeah. And we'll have some guests join us at some point. We'll have some trip reports. I know Fred's going on a trip here shortly, so we'll have his trip report at some point. Yes. My husband and I are going on a short trip, and then I'm going to move over to Universal with some ladies from my agency. We're going to go visit Discovery Cove out in Orlando. So we'll do a trip report on that. Um, and just a quick shout out on my love for podcasting came because I really became close with a couple of podcasts out there. The Disney Crush. I've been a guest on their podcast 3 times now. Kind of similar, doing trip reports. I love Dave and Tony Ann. I've actually got to meet them in person on one of my last trips. They were doing a meetup, and so I got to go and visit with them, and also the Disney Nerd podcast. One of them, the host, is actually a local. He lives not too far from me, which is
Nice.
funny that we know a lot of the same people, but we haven't actually met in person. But I told him one day when I have to stop scheduling my vacations around cheer trips, I'll get to go to one of their meetups as well.
Yeah.
So that's where my love for podcasting came in. And so I'm hoping to get some of those folks to join us sometimes on the podcast as well, just to mix it up a little bit and get a different perspective. And again, I did reach out to Dave and Tony Ann and let them know, that I was going to be joining you on the podcast and that, I loved them and I will always love them, will still be my favorite podcast. And that, I'd love for them to join us as well, since they've been a big inspiration for me.
Yeah, and I think it'll be cool to get some other people on the podcast, especially other podcasters. Um, just as we've said multiple times, everybody has different knowledge when it comes to these destinations, and so it'll be cool to get some other people on and kind of hear their background and where they come from, and their input on today's travel world. I think it's going to be really cool. And of course, my wife, I think it's going to hop on from time to time. She's also a Disney lover. I'm sure my kids will make some appearances. Uh, I think it'll be cool. We
Absolutely.
got a lot of cool stuff lined up. So, anything
Yeah,
else
for
we want to
sure.
talk about before we wrap it up?
No, just that I'm excited about the journey, and like Fred said, some folks may pop in and out. And we're down to earth. This is just us talking. So you may get some background animal noises and all kind of fun stuff, but we will keep the information coming. And we just look forward to building our fan base and connecting with y'all.
Yeah, and I think before we wrap up, of course, um, if you're interested in getting more information, like Lori said, you can reach out to us via email. It's at info@beyondthecastle.com.
And yeah, info at beyondthecastlepodcast.com is
Okay.
the email for us.
Okay, and then
And
we've
then if you
also,
want to get
yep,
your socials, yeah.
yeah, we've also got a Facebook group or a Facebook page, Beyond the Castle Podcast, and then we have a Facebook group, Beyond the Castle Podcast Lounge. That what we named it?
Yep.
Okay.
That's what we
Um,
went with. Yeah.
yeah, so you can join us on those two Facebook groups. I'm also on, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. You can find me at Disney with Fred. Lori, if you want to give your social media stuff as well.
Sure. On Facebook and Instagram, I'm vacation planner Lori Talamo. I do
Okay.
have TikTok, but I'm not going to put that out there because I'm still learning it.
Look, we'll get
So
you there. You
I'm
just need
not
a
as good as Fred.
You just need a millennial to walk you through the TikTok life.
Absolutely. And this is the first video that I've done. So Fred's bringing me out of my shell a little bit. So hopefully I can get some more videos out there on my socials.
I'm surprised Olivia hasn't forced you out of your shell when it comes to videos yet.
Actually, when I told her that I was going to start doing videos, she was like, "Oh, why?" Like, I think she's afraid for me to do it.
It's going to be fine. It's going to
So,
be great.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool, cool.
Absolutely.
Well, it's been exciting, Lori. I'm looking forward to the journey ahead. For those who joined us, thank you for watching today. I think the plan is to hopefully get into a routine of releasing podcasts twice a month on Wednesdays.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Oh, I did want to mention that too. With both of us having trips coming up soon, I know we really wanted to record this episode and kind of get the introductions out there and let you know what's to come. But we'll put out a schedule just to kind of give you an idea of when we'll actually launch the podcast and start going live with the episodes every twice a month.
Yeah, for sure. So definitely keep an eye on the social media pages. Those are going to be the best place to get the up to date information beyond the Castle podcast. I guess with that, thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you guys again shortly.
Thank you for being part of this enchanting journey with us. Stay connected by following us on Facebook at Going Beyond the Castle Podcast and joining our community in the Going Beyond the Castle Podcast Lounge Facebook group. For all your travel needs, contact the official travel agents of the Going Beyond the Castle Podcast at info@beyondthecastlepodcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Until next time, see you real soon.